The German government has congratulated Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on winning the US election. All congratulatory messages and other statements reflect the German willingness to work closely with the new administration and to enhance Germany's investment into our indispensable transatlantic friendship. It is probably still way too early to foresee all the consequences of the US elections for the international order. As Foreign Minister Maas pointed out, Joe Biden is a committed multilateralist, which is good news for tackling global challenges like the COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, or the digital transformation. At the same time, there is also the expectation that the USA will likely be less willing to play the world policeman any longer. So Germany and Europe will be called upon to take on a much more active role, in particular in our immediate neighborhood in Africa and the Middle East. Today's subject therefore seems entirely timely. What should Germany and Japan do to safeguard the international order? There are two underlying assumptions to this question. The international order is being challenged, and second, Germany and Japan have a common interest in safeguarding the international order. In my opinion, both assumptions are correct. In recent years, we got a few reminders that the multilateral system and the rules-based international order cannot be taken for granted. That applies to the acceptance for international law, including the law of the sea and the decisions of international courts. That is also true for the participation in free trade agreements, international organizations, and UN bodies. For Germany and Japan, there's a lot at stake. Neither of us are superpowers that can try to play by their own rules and just ignore the larger context. As major exporting and internationally connected countries, we share a common interest in upholding the rules-based international order and the multilateral system. And we are convinced that in the long run, that is to the benefit of all of us globally. In that regard, the COVID-19 pandemic might be, and should be, a wake-up call for multilateralism. It is a reminder of how crucial well-functioning multilateral institutions are to our collective health, prosperity, and security. In order to build a more resilient, more equal, and more sustainable world, it is necessary to strengthen the multilateral system and to enhance international cooperation. This is one of the core visions currently guiding our work in the UN Security Council as a non-permanent member. So, what should we do to safeguard the international order? At a time when key principles of the rules-based international order are challenged, it is ever more important for those of us who believe in multilateral cooperation to work together. This idea gave rise to the establishment of the Alliance for Multilateralism, a format jointly led by Germany and France to promote a strong commitment to multilateral efforts. The countries involved work together as a network and build coalitions centered on specific issues and projects, such as equitable access to treatments for COVID-19. We aim to further promote this initiative in the Indo-Pacific, also by taking into account issues that are of particular importance to the region. Our shared goal is to protect, develop, and adapt the rules-based international order. Every state that shares this vision, including Japan, is invited to contribute. Germany is also determined to play a more active role in the Indo-Pacific region. In August, the German government published its policy guidelines for the Indo-Pacific region, an attempt to lay out a comprehensive presentation of the interests, principles, and initiatives that describe our policy in the region. One driving force was the recognition that developments in this part of the world will be of crucial importance for the future of the international order. At a time of increasing strategic rivalry between the US and China, Germany and Europe should do their utmost to remain an important economic and political partner and a stabilizing and balancing factor in the region. The prosperity of our societies depends on open shipping routes, physical and digital connectivity, and our participation in functioning, prospering markets. We will continue to defend our values of democracy, a free and open society, social market economy, the rule of law, and human rights, as together They present the basis of our successful development model. In Germany, we know that we must find more adequate ways to address the existential security concerns of our long-standing partners, such as Japan. Germany's main security focus will remain in Europe, the Middle East and Africa, but we are resolved to expand our security and defense cooperation into the Indo-Pacific. This is to some degree already reflected in existing joint projects with our European partners, such as the EU project Enhancing Security in and with Asia. We know that we have a stronger impact when we act together within the framework of the EU. This notion, thinking for ourselves, but always within a multilateral framework, has become part of our political DNA. Accordingly, our policy guidelines for the Indo-Pacific are conceived to contribute to an overall EU strategy in the near future. And it is no coincidence that our policy guidelines and Japan's vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific share common ground, just as our two countries have much in common. There are many areas in which we can together contribute to a peaceful and prosperous Indo-Pacific. By cooperating for quality infrastructure, for instance in the framework of the EU-Japan Connectivity Partnership, by close consultations about regional developments and how to address them, and by enhancing our cooperation in the field of security policy. Discussions like today's can be of great help in pointing to gaps that remain to be closed and in generating ideas of how to do that. This brings me back to the starting point, the United States after the presidential election. Geographically, Germany and Japan may look at the US from different directions, but there are many similarities in the way we look at the US. And this is not only because both our countries' external security is based on the cooperation and an alliance with the United States. We both share the same experience in our history. After the war, the United States helped us to establish our democratic systems. As the German Foreign Minister Heiko Maas already said before the election, close cooperation with the US will remain one of the main pillars of German foreign policy. In his congratulatory remarks, he reaffirmed Germany's offer for a relaunch in transatlantic relations for a New Deal. During the campaign, Joe Biden made it clear that he believes in team play when it comes to the United States on the international stage, instead of acting by its own. We want the West to play as a team again. Only as a team will we effectively assert our shared values worldwide and have the necessary clout. I therefore see good perspectives for a renewed joint effort among like-minded nations. Germany and Japan should make good use of this momentum. I wish you all very insightful and stimulating discussions, and thank you very much for your attention.